The Negro Institute of Delineation and Investigation. #Nightwatch report A Critical Negro Eye On. Nigerian college/university scam. And its impact on WPIs and HBCUs. A Negro Historical Investigative Narrative exclusive, informing the Lineage-Based collective community. Researched and presented by Roland Dunham, II, Master's Degree in Investigation.
There has been a growing myth that has been systematically cultivated by the business communities domestic and abroad, the media, education institutions through propaganda research, local and foreign governments with intentions of excluding Negroes and Black Americans and the lineage-based collective community from competing in the global market. This business and educational criminal behavior is rooted in #NES, Negro Envy Syndrome.
This service announcement was supported by the Negro Historical Investigative Narrative. Negro Historical Investigative Narrative. It is a historical investigation narrative that is lineage-based perspective that references specific focus on history of the Negro/Black Americans that applies investigative techniques to seek and uncover the hidden truth while challenging the dominant historical perspective that is rooted in Jim Crow, Black codes, and other anti-Negro/Black American social and educational criminal behavior that has genocidal consequences against the lineage-based collective community. Copyright all rights are reserved to Delineationology.
Negro Envy Syndrome, better known as NES. NES is a mental health syndrome that is expressed by melanated immigrants and others going through an identity mental health crisis rooted in envy, jealousy, and hatred of the American Negro and lineage. Concept created by Kimblai Arnold and supported by CNT/CNLT. Pan-Afroeconomics is the thoughts of melaninated being able to defraud and exploit the Negro American with the assistance from people of the Negro American and the lineage-based collective community with the intention of helping to supplant the Negro American native population in the United States of America. This behavior expressed under the guise of capitalism, Pan-African economics, and anti-tribalism. From the perspective of we are all victimized by white supremacy as a global system. It becomes a logical fallacy when the slave or trader descendants are seen as victims, instead of being collaborators of our oppression as an economic form of the school of thoughts of anti-Negro nativophobia and anti-Negrophobia. Copyright all rights reserved to Delineationology.
So how this information related to the Nigerian educational defrauding and scamming WPIs and HBCUs?
Hi, I'm Victor Matthias. Here's your channel's TV Morning News update for February the 1st, 2020. U.S. President Donald Trump has imposed a new travel ban restricting immigration from Nigeria and 5 other countries in an expansion of his administration's policy, blocking travel from certain nations. In line with the new policy, citizens from Nigeria, Eritrea, Myanmar, and Kyrgyzstan won't be allowed to apply for visas to immigrate to the U.S. According to the U.S. government, the policy was designed to tighten security for countries that don't comply with the U.S. minimum security standards or cooperate to prevent illegal immigration.
The government's crackdown on fake degrees. Education Minister Tahir Mamman expressed no sympathy for those with fake credentials, stating that they are part of criminal networks and should be arrested. The government also plans to suspend degree certificates from additional countries like Uganda, Kenya, Niger Republic, following the suspension of accreditation of certificates from Benin and Togo. This decision comes after an undercover journalist exposed how easy it was to obtain a degree from a university in Benin Republic, leading to the suspension of accreditation and a probe into this particular.
So, how easy was it to obtain a bachelor's degree in Nigeria?
Nigeria launches crackdown on fake degrees. Authors, Shehu Salmanu. Notes. October 1st, 2024. Following a report exposing the widespread issue of fake degrees in Nigeria's academic institutions, the government has established an interministerial committee to investigate this matter. 107 local private universities that have operated in the past 15 years will be scrutinized. A journalist revealed that a bachelor's degree can be obtained in 6 weeks without attending classes.
While Negro/Black Americans have been historically discriminated from entering colleges/universities in United States of America, the same colleges/universities are accepting fake bachelor's degree holders to avoid accepting Negro/Black American students who are intergenerational citizens from the United States of America, but Harvard and Yale don't owe us reparations?
So, how much money was reallocated to Nigerian foreign exchange students? The U.S. Embassy and Consulate in Nigeria reports that U.S. Consulate assists 33 Nigerian students receive $2.92 million in scholarships from American universities. Lagos, 33 high-achieving Nigerian students have received full scholarships totaling $2.92 million to attend American universities and colleges for the 2024/2025 academic session. This feat was made possible through the Opportunity Funds program of the United States Consulate General Lagos that is designed to increase access to U.S. higher education institutions for highly qualified international students who have limited resources to cover upfront costs of attending a university in the United States. So, how many Nigerian foreign exchange students are in the USA? Based on the U.S. Embassy and Consulate states that Nigeria ranks 7th globally for international students in the United States. The more than 20,000 Nigerian students enrolled in 2023/2024, up 13.5% from previous year. The U.S. Embassy and Consulate reports that Nigerian student enrollment at U.S. colleges and universities rose to 20,029 students in 2023/2024, marking a 13.5% increase from the previous year, according to the 2024 Open Doors report on international education exchange. This places Nigeria as Africa's leading source of international students and 7th globally. The report reveals that U.S. colleges and universities host a record-breaking 1,126,690 international students this year, marking an all-time high for international enrollment. This milestone aligns with the 75th anniversary of the Open Doors report, the leading benchmark for international educational exchange in the United States. Notably, Nigeria with 20,029 students reinforces its position as the top sending country from Africa and the 7th largest globally. How are the Nigerians foreign exchange students are allegedly defrauding the Department of Education and the federal government?
By melanin material impersonation/misrepresentation is an anti-Negro nativophobia behavior used in the business, education, government, NGOs, political, religion, and social sectors, with the intention of fabricating/defrauding mischaracterization/misrepresentation of the Negro American and the lineage-based community. This behavior is meant to continue to deceive the public at large in order to exploit our communities, business, culture by ethnic erasure, history, politics, profitability, intellectual property by legal action/crime, resources, religion, relevance, and social capital. Example: checking Black American on application with the intention of winning a scholarship from a Black American student and you are not from the lineage-based collective community. Concept was designed from the Critical Negro Lineage Truth by Roland Dunham II with master's degree in investigation.
Why do melanin immigrants engage in melanin material misrepresentation? 1. The national origin perspective based on economics crisis, duress, and oppression. 2. The perception of the American dream and the golden opportunity. 3. Rationale pretext to be oppositional to the Negro Americans and lineage-based collective community. Concept was designed by Roland Dunham II with master's degree in investigations. Copyright all rights reserved to delineationology. How can the people in the lineage-based collective community combat foreign fraud behavior? By being informed about melanin material misrepresentation fraud turning red flags. When foreigners start asking, requesting, sharing historical information about our Negro nuclear lineal tree and/or the lineage-based collective community, and they are not from the lineage, the documentation do not meet the USA standards of proof/identification and for lineage-based reparations based on The California Task Force recommendations. Excessively exaggerated family tree stories that do not make historical sense from the Negro lineal, collective, nationalist perspective. Overriding support from POC institutions at the expense of the Negro American. When melanin immigrants are engaged in melanin minstrel face, as the cool black friend on the job, at school, etc. Concept was designed by Roland Dunham II with master's degree in investigations. Copyright all rights reserved to delineationology. The problem with Nigerians having fake degrees for the lineage-based collective community are the following. 1. The devaluation of legitimate credentials of all black and melanated people in the USA and the world. 2. An erosion of trust in education, most critical to HBCUs and PWIs. 3. A threat to public safety and national security, for it impacts the global market and fair trade agreements. 5. Fraud protection challenges, which mean it is hard to financially cover the loss. 6. The displacement of Negro intellectuals with fake scholars, which can impact education and the society at large. And 7. The hiring unqualified people, which can damage reputation and create financial loss. Copyright all rights are reserved to delineationology. Please make sure you support Negroes 2 FBA Protection Bill against Black Immigrants. Legally combating #NES behavior. Copyright all rights reserved to delineationology.
Authentically a real Negro established in 2025 in the United States of America, Delaware. Created by K.A. Designed by R.D. Make sure you support the book. Delineationology, The Science of Delineation for the Negro American by Roland Dunham II. For $10 for ebook and PDF format, and $19.99 at bookpatch.com. If you like our content, please donate to our Cash App, which is $Delineationology, and thank you for your contribution. The Negro Institute of Delineation and Investigation. This is the conclusion of the #Nightwatch Report, a Critical Negro Eye On Nigerian college/university scam, and its impact on WPIs and HBCUs. A Negro historical investigative narrative exclusive, informing the lineage-based collective community. Researched and presented by Roland Dunham, II Master's Degree in Investigations.